I'm Tim.
I'm Anna.
And this is the Geeked Up Gaming Review Group, and we're going to bring you guys a review of...
This Town Ain't Big Enough for the 2 to 4 of Us. It is a micro game from Tasty Minstrels. It's a little tile laying game that's kind of area control, and we'll go over the components, show you what's in the box or envelope, and then we'll show you quick how to play.
Alright guys, so here is the envelope box that it comes in, and it will sit flat when you first get it. This is actually the package that it was at Gen Con and straight out of Kickstarter. It's just a basic envelope. We've obviously opened it to play it. So it conveniently fits in this little plastic baggie, all the pieces, the tiles, the scorekeeper, the rule book, all of that.
We'll show you these.
Yeah, so we'll go ahead and pull it out and show you guys the pieces.
We counted 25 tiles.
Yeah.
25 tiles it comes with. They all have different things on them, and then there's one claim office tile. And these all have different little symbols on them. We'll explain that later. Here is your number tracker, and then each player gets a little chevron with the symbol on it, and then on the back you can flip it over. It's got a 20, so that if you go over 20 points you can keep score. There are 4 minor tokens.
Base game, all you need is the score tracker, the tiles, and your 4 trackers on the score tracker.
And these are expansions here. There's 4 minor tokens, 1 for each color.
Yes.
There are 4 sheriff's badges.
Which is also another expansion. 1
for each color. And then there are 4... What were these ones called?
I don't remember, but that is also an expansion.
No, they're all in the shape. I forget what that one's called. Something about guns. But those will explain to you the basic rules, and then hired guns. So I guess they're hired gun tokens.
Here's the rule book. It has the rules for the expansion as well as the base game. So let's go ahead and ship over to how to set the game up, and then we'll show you all the different basically game modes that they've added with the expansions. Alright, so we're going to show you guys the basic game first, and then we'll show you the sheriffs and then the mining and so on and so forth. So we have our scorecard here, our 2 tokens that represent me and Anna. I will be yellow, she will be pink. We have our claim office that starts us, and this is the pile that we'll pull our tiles off of. So I'll let Anna go first.
Okay, you pull a tile, and then wow, that's the first time we did that. Usually we get them closed off. Anyways, there's little corrals, so you have to go, and I'm pink. So you want to score as much points as possible by getting points in the corral. We'll show you how it plays. It kind of takes a minute to explain scoring. You want to have...
But to simulate how to score real quick.
Okay, basically this green has 2, blue has 2, and yellow has 1. Tim's yellow. So the person who has the most, or people who have the most badges in here, score the person below them's badges. So these 2 have 2 and yellow has 1. So 2 is the highest. They each score 1 because yellow has 1 in there.
So if there was a green player, they would be at 1 point right now.
And blue would be at 1.
And blue.
And yellow would not score because there's no one under yellow. The person who has the least amount of badges in a closed corral does not score points.
Yes, so it doesn't matter whose turn closes it, everyone has the potential of getting points.
Right. And so it's Tim's turn.
So you don't have to score on just your turn. So I will pull my tile, and then I will I will show you this. If you do it with just yours, you don't get any points. So you can't just close it off.
Because there's no one under them.
Right. So you would just, nothing would happen.
Okay. So now this corral section, I have 2 badges, Tim has 2 badges, and then Blue has 1. So if this closed right now, Tim and I tied at 2, would get 1 point. But it's not closed yet, so it's Tim's turn.
Okay, so to show you that,
Okay.
actually, because I
You just
connected
made me
it,
score more
4,
points.
and then I scored, that would score me nothing.
So this would score 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 4, Tim has 1, 2, 3, and Blue has 1, 2, 3. So being that I have 4 and the other people have 3, I score 3. But since there's no one under, the people who have 3, they score no points.
So I'm still at 0.
And then it's my turn. Let's come up here.
So basically the gameplay on no expansions, this is how it would go. So let's go ahead.
You play until your stack is gone.
Yes, and that'll be with the expansions and not with the expansions. So this is all you'll need to play for the base game. When you buy this copy, it does come with the expansions with it. At least that's what we got at Gen Con.
Kickstarter.
It's all the Kickstarter stuff.
Yeah.
So these are all the stretch goals that we're getting ready to show you. So let's go ahead and move on over to the Sheriff's Badge.
Okay, one more thing. There are silver bar tiles. Silver bars on tiles. And what happens with those is when a silver bar is put into an area that closes, the person who placed the tile gets to move another person's tile. You can only move tiles that are not part of a closed corral and are not the claim office tile. So if I place this here, I would get to move a tile, and I could move this one right here. And for instance, I can move it like that, and that would score me a point if I was pink. So that's how the silver bar works. It's the person who places the tile that closes a corral with a silver bar in it. The tile does not have to have the silver bar on it, but the corral has to have a silver bar in it to move a tile.
Okay, so we have reset the board. We're starting with our claim office. I have my sheriff's token and Nana has hers.
So this is the We Don't Need No Stinking Batches, which is from, what is that? Tonto?
We don't need no stinking badges, if you didn't understand what she said, because I was trying to make out what she said.
He said patches, but he doesn't.
So I'll go first. Oh man. Okay, so this happens a lot.
Okay.
We've noticed where it closes a sector. So, seeming I'm yellow, I'm going to do this. That's going to give me a point because I have 2 to 1. So, I don't get to show you the sheriff thing yet.
Yes, you do.
I know. Let me get there. Now, what I can do with my badge is I can change the face of any of these to change my influence inside of a corral. So, just because Anna's pink and that's the only person I'm really playing against, I will cover hers up and now she can place a tile.
So I'm going to place this here, and you can only place it in an open corral. You can't place it in a closed corral. So
yeah. So basically, you would play all of the same rules from the base game, and you were just adding an element with the badges. So that's basically all that we could show you really with the badges is that you're just changing the influence inside of a corral.
But you could change it at the end of each turn.
Yeah. So now we're gonna go to the next expansion and show you guys how those work. Alright guys, so we have reset the board again to show you guys how these icons work. I guess I didn't change the scoreboard. So I'll let Anna go first.
Basically, okay. So,
and this one's called Hired Guns.
Hired Guns, yeah. So I can, at the end of my turn, put my token in any corral that's open, and it is an added one. It doesn't cover up any or anything, it just adds an influence to a corral.
Yeah, so instead of changing an icon to something else like a sheriff badge would, like Anna said, you were just adding. So I'll move over here and add that. So that puts me in the lead as far as that corral.
So I'm gonna close this one, score it. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and there's 2, so we each get 2. And then I get to do this again, and I'm going to add an influence over here. Why not? So that's how that one plays. You just add the
and when the corral closes, we get our thingy back, right?
Yeah, right. But you can't place it till the end of your turn.
Right.
So
and we'll just say I put this out here, and then I can change and add this there. So like Anna said, that's basically a simulation of how these icons will work. So now we will go on to the next one and show you guys how the mining token works.
here's the expansion for Miner 49er. Each player gets a miner token, which has a little pickaxe and the hard hat. You play the game as normal until a certain point, and we'll explain that here in a minute. When you have your miner token, you can place it in any corral, and that gives you, in any open corral, that gives you 1 point when you put it on there. And it stays there until the corral closes. And we'll explain how that works in a minute. Tim, do you want to draw a tile? It doesn't cover anything up as well.
Here, I'll do that.
Okay. So what he did here is he closed this corral. There was a silver bar. When there's a silver bar in a section with the corral, the person who has a miner token inside of the corral with a silver bar gets to move a tile that's open. Right now there's not an open tile. You can't move a tile that is part of a closed corral, or you can't move the claim office. But if there was a tile here.
So let's pretend this was here. You could move this tile anywhere you would want because it's open.
And now, for instance, if I set my miner token on this one right here, this tile here, and Tim had set his miner token here, because you can't put a miner token where there's another miner token on another tile or in another corral. But since this one's here and this one's here, if this were played to make this all one corral and there was a silver bar in here, then both players would get to move a tile if there was a silver bar. But it goes in order of the person who closed the corral and then in clockwise. So that's how that kind of works, instead of like the base game where the person who closes the corral with a silver bar in it gets to move the tile. It's the person who has a miner token. So, but since the miner tokens are in here and there's no silver bar, no one would get to move a tile. And then at the end of the round, or the turn, when the corral's closed, each player gets their miner token back. So that's how the miner tokens get put back in your hand, and then you score points when you lay it, but they lay out there until the corral's closed. So that's how the Miner 49er works.
Okay, so we wanted to show you guys how all the expansions can work together. Now, you'll play all the base rules, you'll place your tiles however, but when you go to place one of these, you can only place one per turn. So I'll let Anna go first.
So I go there, and then I'm going to place my miner token on this one, and that gives me 1 point.
Oh, there's yellow. I was like, there's no yellow on this tile. I'll go ahead and play my miner token as well so that I can match that 1 point.
And then I'm going to play this here. And that gives me 1 point, and Tim 1 point actually. And since there's a silver bar and I have my minor token, I get to move a tile. But unfortunately there's no tiles that can be moved because they're part of a corral. So I take him back, and I'm going to take my sheriff's badge and I'm going to cover this blue one right here. And it's Tim's turn.
Okay, so then I can put my sheriff's badge out here, and that will change the influence of that corral once it starts to close.
Alright, so I'll place this here, and I'm going to use this one here to actually add an influence over there.
Yeah, so basically just replace the one that I took over. And then I will take, just one tile, bring it over here, which I gain an influence, she gains influence, but I'm also going to bump me up again in that corral. And now all my tokens are on the board, and I got her minor token back, but she got to play all of hers as well.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place this here, and that gives Tim 3 points and me 2 points. And then I'm going to place my minor token here, gives me 1 point, and then Tim and I get our points back. And that's how it works. You just kind of go back and forth, and you can only place one at a time, but multiple corrals can have different things in play. It all kind of works together to have a really cool kind of drive.
Yeah, and we would advise that you play it with the base game and then each expansion by itself, and then play them all together. The 3 expansions are definitely worth putting on the game and playing with. It definitely makes the score. You both climb pretty at a steady pace together, more at least for 2-player.
We seem to score a lot higher points when we played with all the expansions as opposed to no expansions and 1 expansion at a time.
Yeah, when we played no expansions, we didn't even break 10, and same with just 1 expansion. But with
that's also
all
with
3 expansions,
that's
we broke
with
10
2-player
easily.
I think that if you play more players, you're going to score more points.
Yeah, you'll see a lot more action going on the scoreboard.
Right.
Alright, so now we will go and head on over to our conclusion. Okay, so we wanted to show you guys how all the expansions can work together. Now, you'll play all the base rules, you'll place your tiles however, but when you go to place one of these, you can only place 1 per turn. So I'll let Anna go first.
So I go there, and then I'm going to place my minor token on this one, and that gives me 1 point.
Oh, there's yellow. I was like, there's no yellow on this tile. I'll go ahead and play my minor token as well so that I can match that 1 point.
And then I'm going to play this here, and that gives me 1 point and Tim 1 point actually. And since there's a silver bar and I have my minor token, I get to move a tile. But unfortunately there's no tiles that can be moved because they're part of a corral. So I take him back, and I'm going to take my sheriff's badge and I'm going to cover this blue one right here. And it's Tim's turn.
Okay, so then I can put my sheriff's badge out here, and that will change the influence of that corral once it starts to close.
Alright, so I'll place this here, and I'm going to use this one here to actually add an influence over there.
Yeah, so basically just replace the one that I took over. And then I will take, just 1 tile, bring it over here, which I gain an influence, she gains influence, but I'm also going to bump me up again in that corral. And now all my tokens are on the board, and I got her minor token back, but she got to play all of hers as well.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place this here, and that gives Tim 3 points and me 2 points. And then I'm going to place my minor token here, gives me 1 point, and then Tim and I get our points back. And that's how it works. You just kind of go back and forth, and you can only place one at a time, but multiple corrals can have different things in play. It all kind of works together to have a really cool kind of drive.
Yeah, and we would advise that you play it with the base game and then each expansion by itself, and then play them all together. The 3 expansions are definitely worth putting on the game and playing with. It definitely makes the score. You both climb pretty at a steady pace together, more at least for 2-player.
We seem to score a lot higher points when we played with all the expansions as opposed to no expansions and 1 expansion at a time.
Yeah, when we played no expansions, we didn't even break 10, and same with just 1 expansion. But with
that's also
all
with
3 expansions,
that's
broke
with
10
2-player
easily.
I think that if you play more players, you're going to score more points.
Yeah, you'll see a lot more action going on the scoreboard.
Right.
Alright, so now we will go and head on over to our conclusion. Alright guys, so we're showing you guys the components in the box or envelope. And we showed you guys how to play the game and all the different expansions that came with it. So we will now tell you what we think about it. I will let Anna take off.
When we first played it without any of the expansions, that was kind of a little dry and boring. But as each expansion added on, I was like, oh, that's kind of fun. But when they all get together, it was fun. I really enjoyed the game with all the expansions. I don't think I'd ever play it with just 1 to none. Probably not even 2. I'd probably play with all the expansions. Which it's interesting how just like one little thing can change the play of the game. But it made it much more interesting. You scored more points. And I even told him it'd be a great playing game. It's small packages. That's the point of the micro games. But you can throw it in a purse or a bag or something and play it like just on the table of a airplane, or it would be kind of hard in a car,
we're supposed to be going to California
next year.
Next year for a wedding. This will probably be one that we're going to take with us, and we will probably be stuck at the airport because for whatever reason, you know how secure it is, and everybody knows how customs is.
How do you know? You've never been in an airport in your life, have you?
No, but all you have to do is listen to the stories, because everybody has problems with airplanes and board games for some reason. Like, we're going to be lethal with paper cuts or something.
And the highlight of someone who's never traveled, it's not called customs when you... That's like
I'm talking about from out of state, or out of the United States. I know what customs is.
Yeah, but we're not going to go through customs.
No, but it's the same process. You got to go through security. And
anyways, it's a good fun little game with all the expansions. We've only played 2-player, but I'd like to play with multiple players because I think that it would add more point possibilities for everyone. And a little bit different aspect and probably really short.
Yeah, so other than going through customs and security and everything, I really like the game. I would really recommend it to anyone that would like to play a micro game. It's, pocket size.
It's easy to teach too. I mean, the rules were really easy to read. I mean, we learned the game in like 3 minutes. I just read it and we played. But
I got confused because I was reading the expansions and not the base game. I was like, I handed her the rule book. I was like, I can't find the base game, and it was obviously on the one side and not on the other. But that's how quickly I give up on reading the rule book, so I just hand it to her and she takes over.
What do you think of it without the expansions?
Without the expansions, that was the best way to learn it. I wouldn't recommend playing it with the base. I would recommend playing it.
But it's not hard to teach with.
And then.
I mean, if you taught with all of them.
And then one at a time, learn them, all the expansions, and then throw it all together. Because the mechanics almost seem the same, like the one that manipulates how many, and then the sheriff, which manipulates which one he wants to change. I can see where people could get those confused if you try to do them both at the same time. And then the mining, how it works with the silver bars, and how the silver bars can actually work by themselves as well. So that could throw some confusion in there. So definitely learning it, the base game first, which pretty much do that with any game that you get before you put an expansion in it. But this was definitely one where the expansions actually helped the game and improved it. You know, there are some games out there that they throw an expansion at it and it just completely just turns it into garbage. This is a really good one. All 3 expansions are great for it, and they all add their own little spice to the mixing bowl. I
feel like it's hard to call it expansions because they're just more like mechanics, like additional mechanics.
Yeah, and they're not. It's not like they put an expansion in it and then added 20 different mechanics for that one expansion. It's one expansion, one mechanic, which is really nice. So you can plug one in, or you can pull one out, whatever you want to do, and then play with just the base. Or maybe you guys will like it with just the base more than we did. I think maybe we just like complexity, I guess, in our games. So. But
for a $5 game, it's one to add. I mean, if anything, you can just put it in your purse or in your big cargo pockets if you're a man.
And those of you that backed it are obviously not going to be disappointed, which you guys should already have your copies of it anyway. So you guys already know everything about it. That's all I have to say about it. Mm-hmm. Alright, so I'm Tim.
I'm Anna.
This is Geekedupgaming Review Group, and this is...
This town ain't big enough for the 2 to 4 of us.
By Tasty Minstrel Games.